Judy.
I'm Jessica Dupart. A lot of people know me as Judy. I am the owner of Kaleidoscope Hair Products. To date, the company's probably made close to 40 million. Also birthed Kaleidoscope Realty, Kaleidoscope Management, Kaleidoscope Cares, Kaleidoscope Shipping and Receiving. Yeah.
She built $1 million empire, married a rap icon, and showed the world a fairy tale. But behind the glam, betrayal, affairs, and scams were boiling. Did Judy really use Brat to boost her brand? And is their perfect love just another hustle? What you're about to hear will change the way you see them forever. Hollywood drama strikes again, and this time, it's hip-hop icon Brat and beauty mogul Jessica "BB" Judy Dupart at the center of an explosive unraveling. Once hailed as a beacon of black queer love, a fusion of rap royalty and entrepreneurial brilliance, their love story captivated fans who rooted for them from the start. The journey began in 2017, when the two first crossed paths at an event for Judy's rising haircare brand. After reconnecting years later, sparks flew, and in March 2020, Brat, known as the first female rapper to ever sell 1 million records, made headlines by coming out publicly, revealing her relationship with Judy. This bold declaration wasn't just a romantic milestone, it was a cultural moment, symbolizing authenticity, pride, and visibility, especially in a genre and industry where queerness among women has long been marginalized or hidden. Their romance blossomed into a highly publicized relationship that was front and center in their reality show Brat Loves Judy, giving fans an intimate look into their lives, their love, and their plans for the future. In February 2022, they tied the knot in a lavish ceremony at a Georgia estate, arriving in horse-drawn carriages and exchanging vows surrounded by over 100 guests. The wedding, touted as something straight out of a fairy tale, appeared to cement their bond. Just a year later, the couple announced they were expecting their first child together via IVF, using Judy's egg and a donor. The announcement brought joy and admiration, especially as Brat, then in her late 40s, expressed how deeply emotional and surreal it felt to become a mother after years of believing it might never happen for her. Their son, True, was welcomed with love, and the couple frequently shared milestones of his early life online, appearing more united than ever. But behind the curated photos and glossy TV moments, cracks were forming, cracks that have now split wide open with swirling rumors of betrayal, infidelity, and emotional manipulation. According to insiders and circulating gossip, Brat was blindsided by the revelation that Judy had allegedly been spending time with another man, for a relationship that was supposed to be rooted in transparency and trust. This accusation hit hard, especially considering the immense emotional and physical investment that Brat had made by stepping into motherhood and into the public eye. What was once hailed as a trailblazing, fearless love now feels, to many fans, like a facade built on shaky ground. Whispers have grown louder that Judy, despite her charisma and business savvy, never fully loved Brat and may have entered the relationship with ulterior motives. Critics argue that Judy used her proximity to Brat to expand the reach of her Kaleidoscope brand, already a multi-million-dollar beauty empire, but one that saw an undeniable spike in visibility after their relationship became public. While Judy was already financially successful, being linked to Brat, a cultural icon with deep industry roots, gave her brand an additional edge and emotional connection with fans that money alone couldn't buy. The situation is further complicated by questions surrounding the legal status of their marriage. Reports suggest that due to Brat's past legal entanglements, including high-profile assault charges and financial judgments, the marriage may not have been legally formalized, making a divorce far messier, especially in regard to parental rights. While Brat is now allegedly seeking primary custody of their son, True. Judy's biological tie to the child, having provided the egg, could give her a stronger legal claim, depending on how their parental agreements were structured. In a twist, some speculate that Judy may not contest custody heavily, citing her reportedly limited involvement with her 3 older children. Many fans argue that Brat has shown deeper emotional investment and hands-on parenting, while Judy has continued to focus on her businesses and online persona. Public sentiment, especially among Brat's supporters, leans in her favor, with many believing she was emotionally manipulated and used by Judy, who they claim has a history of exploiting personal relationships for gain. Indeed, Judy's reputation has been increasingly scrutinized as people come forward with past experiences and allegations. Stories of Judy's involvement in shady business practices, fraudulent schemes, and emotional abuse are resurfacing. Some claim she exploited grieving families, allegedly fought over insurance payouts after tragic incidents, and used her influence to silence exes, including purchasing and destroying a tell-all book to hide damaging revelations. One particularly disturbing accusation involves her treatment of viral sensation Lil James, a child she allegedly attempted to use for promotional gain before coldly discarding him and making demeaning remarks when he no longer served her interests. These claims paint a troubling pattern of emotional detachment, manipulation, and prioritization of brand over genuine human connection. And while it's easy to villainize Judy in this narrative, Brat's own past cannot be overlooked. Long before this public fallout, Brat had multiple brushes with the law. In one case, she was convicted of felony assault after striking a woman, an Atlanta Falcons cheerleader, with a bottle during a club altercation, an attack that left the woman with permanent facial scarring and brain damage. The incident cost Brat 3 years in prison, followed by probation, mandatory treatment, and eventually, a court-ordered civil judgment of over $6 million, which some reports say remains unpaid. There was also a prior nightclub incident involving violence and a weapon. So yes, Brat has her flaws and a temper that's been well documented in court and the press. However, many fans argue that she's grown, changed, and tried to move forward, while Judy's behavior seems to echo a deeper, ongoing pattern of exploitation and deceit. As the drama continues to unfold, what started as a seemingly inspirational love story, one that challenged heteronormative norms and offered representation for Black queer families, now feels like a cautionary tale. Love, money, trauma, fame, it's a volatile mix that can't always withstand the pressures of public life and personal baggage. Brat's emotional unraveling and vocal questioning of the very idea of love and marriage within queer partnerships have sparked uncomfortable but necessary conversations within the LGBTQ+ community, especially around trust, visibility, and the emotional labor placed on public figures who are held up as symbols of progress. Fans are left with questions. Was this relationship always destined to crash? Was Brat too vulnerable, too trusting of someone who saw her more as a platform than a partner? Or was it simply the clash of two strong personalities with complicated pasts and opposing values? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear: not every fairy tale ends with a happily ever after, and sometimes the most dazzling love stories hide the darkest secrets behind the scenes.
Get out of here. That is so... Pack your bag. Where we going? Oh my God. Serengeti. It's with the giraffes when they peek in your room. They peek in your window right here.
And just when we thought the story couldn't possibly get messier, darker, or more twisted, the skeletons really start tumbling out of the closet, and not just one or two. We're talking an entire haunted wardrobe here. Because let's be honest, Jessica Bibi Judy Dupart has never exactly had the cleanest reputation. For all the glitz, glam, and boss babe branding that floods her social media, there's a growing group of skeptics, and they're not whispering anymore. These are people who believe that her carefully curated image as a self-made mogul and loving partner is just that, an image. Behind the filters and business speak, many allege lies a pattern of calculated manipulation, emotional coldness, and self-serving schemes. Supporters of Brat, and even neutral observers, have begun painting a chilling portrait of Judy as a long-game player, someone who allegedly attaches herself to people when it's convenient, then discards them when the usefulness wears off. And while we should approach every claim with caution, the sheer volume and consistency of the stories raise serious questions. One of the most disturbing involves Judy allegedly fighting a grieving mother for control over insurance money after a child drowned in her pool, an incident that, for many, instantly tarnished whatever goodwill they may have felt toward her. It wasn't just the tragedy itself, but the alleged cold-heartedness that followed. Then there are the business dealings that, according to insiders and former associates, are riddled with betrayal. Several reports accuse Judy of defrauding past partners, signing shady contracts, and throwing others under the bus when the consequences came knocking. In one case, an ex-girlfriend allegedly took the fall for Judy's financial schemes, ending up behind bars for money laundering. The most damning part: that same ex reportedly wrote a tell-all book, spilling everything from how she was set up to how Judy orchestrated illegal activity behind the scenes. And what did Judy allegedly do in response? Bought out as many copies of the book as she could find and had them destroyed to silence the narrative. That, in itself, speaks volumes. But it doesn't stop there. Enter Lil James, the sweet, hilarious young boy who went viral for his humor and charm. Judy reportedly swooped in, like she's done with other rising child stars, and offered to promote him, not as an act of kindness, but as a marketing tool. She allegedly used his innocent appeal to sell products and elevate her brand. But when things didn't go her way, when the views dropped or the returns didn't match her expectations, she allegedly turned on him. According to accounts from his family, she dismissed the child, criticized him cruelly, and left him feeling like a failure. And in a move that many call outright exploitation, she reportedly had him sign a questionable contract that funneled much of his earned revenue directly into her business, not into a trust for him, not into anything that served his future, but into her pocket. Imagine being a child used as a pawn in someone's corporate game. It's heartbreaking. And just when you think it couldn't sound more sinister, consider the rumors surrounding the two salon fires, both owned by Judy, which, after investigation, led to sizable insurance payouts in her favor. Though never proven as criminal, the timing and circumstances surrounding these incidents have led many to speculate about foul play. What once appeared to be tragic setbacks in a rising entrepreneur's journey now look suspiciously like strategic disasters, events that might have been staged or, at the very least, conveniently monetized. In the eyes of many critics, it all paints the picture of someone who doesn't just thrive under adversity but possibly manufactures it. Given all this, it's no wonder people are now questioning whether Judy's entire relationship with DA Brat was yet another one of these long-term investments, not of the heart, but of opportunity. Did she ever truly love Brat, or was it all part of the master plan to further elevate her empire using Brat's fame, influence, and vulnerability? Because Brat didn't just come into this with stardom, she came in with authenticity, with a lived experience that resonated with millions. Her coming out wasn't just a publicity move. It was a milestone, especially for queer women of color. By aligning herself with Brat, Judy didn't just gain love, she gained access to a whole new market, a powerful narrative, and a more humanized brand. But let's not be so quick to canonize Brat either. Because while Judy's reputation is under fire, Brat herself has a rap sheet that can't be ignored, both literally and figuratively. Back in the mid-2000s, Brat was convicted of assault after smashing a bottle of rum over the head of Shayla, an Atlanta Falcons cheerleader and part-time hostess at Studio 72, a club owned by Jermaine Dupri. The attack, which reportedly stemmed from a dispute at a private Halloween party, left Shayla with traumatic brain injuries, permanent facial scars, and an abruptly ended career in entertainment. She would later sue and win a multi-million-dollar settlement, which Brat has reportedly struggled or failed to pay in full. But what's even more disturbing than the physical injuries is what Shayla described as a culture of silence and neglect at the club. Allegedly, security did little to nothing to intervene during the attack, and Dupri, who was Brat's longtime collaborator and friend, allegedly avoided seeking immediate medical help to protect the venue's reputation. That night, one woman's life changed forever. And while Brat served 3 years in prison, followed by 7 years of probation, 200 hours of community service, substance abuse treatment, and anger management, some wonder whether accountability ever fully caught up to her. And let's not forget an earlier nightclub incident where Brat was arrested for an altercation over VIP seating. That pattern of violent behavior, combined with her explosive temper and public statements over the years, suggests that Brat has also battled her own demons. Demons that might have re-emerged during her relationship with Judy. Could these unresolved issues have clashed with Judy's own manipulative tendencies, creating a volatile mix that eventually led to their current implosion? So here we are, two incredibly talented, deeply complicated women, once celebrated for breaking barriers, now entangled in a public mess of allegations, emotional wounds, and questions of integrity. Their once rivaled romance, a symbol of queer love, resilience, and partnership, now stands in ruins, scrutinized by fans and critics alike. And as Brat reportedly seeks primary custody of their son, True, many wonder how that will play out legally, especially since Judy provided the egg and Brat is not the biological parent. But given Judy's alleged disinterest in motherhood, highlighted by reports of her limited involvement with her other children, some believe Brat has a strong case emotionally, if not legally. In the end, what we're left with is not just a broken relationship, but a broader conversation about fame, trauma, and the toxic underbelly of curated perfection. Was it love, or was it leverage? Healing or hustling? Sincerity or survival? Maybe it was all of it, or maybe it was never real to begin with. What's clear is this: behind the filters, the fairy tale wedding, and the inspirational hashtags, was a storm quietly brewing, and now that it's burst open, there's no telling what damage will be left behind, as the layers of Brat and Judy's unraveling relationship continue to peel back. What was once a celebrated union now feels more like a cautionary tale steeped in pain, power dynamics, and unresolved pasts. Neither party emerges entirely innocent from the ashes, but public sentiment seems to be slowly tilting, with many arguing that Judy's alleged history paints her as the more calculated and emotionally damaging of the two. The stories being unearthed aren't just isolated events. They reflect a pattern that's raising eyebrows and unsettling even her most loyal followers. Judy, the self-made mogul and face behind Kaleidoscope hair products, is now being scrutinized not just for who she is in the boardroom or on social media, but for what people claim she's done behind closed doors. Allegations include everything from emotionally manipulating grieving families, such as a disturbing claim involving a custody battle over insurance money, following a child's tragic drowning in her pool, to financially exploiting business partners, running sketchy promotional schemes, and cutting ties the moment those individuals no longer serve her purpose. Former friends and partners allege that Judy has a tendency to shift blame onto others when deals go south, including reportedly allowing an ex-girlfriend to take legal hits for crimes Judy orchestrated, one of whom allegedly served time for money laundering connected to Judy's dealings. Another ex is said to have tried publishing a Tello book that exposed Judy's alleged web of scams and coercion, but according to multiple sources, Judy swooped in and purchased every available copy, scrubbing the book from circulation before it could damage her carefully curated brand image. This trend of damage control isn't new in Judy's orbit. Her PR game has always been tight, and for years, fans ate up the narrative of her as a bold, no-nonsense entrepreneur who built an empire from the ground up. But behind the empowerment slogans and flashy Instagram reels, stories like that of Lil James, a viral young comedian, tell a different tale. The child was reportedly approached by Judy's team for promotional work, and for a while, she publicly embraced him as part of her extended Kaleidoscope family. But once his viral appeal faded, or perhaps didn't generate the kind of profits she expected, Judy allegedly distanced herself coldly, belittling the boy and undermining his self. According to his mother, Judy's interactions grew increasingly transactional, even predatory, culminating in a dubious contract that funneled a significant portion of the boy's earnings into her business. This wasn't just a misstep, been described by critics as emotional exploitation of a child for financial gain. Add to this the suspicious circumstances surrounding two salon fires that resulted in substantial insurance payouts, and the idea that Judy may have treated her relationship with Brat as another financial or PR move doesn't sound entirely unfounded to some. What initially looked like a love story now has the markings of a strategic entanglement, one that might have been designed more for mutual leverage than emotional authenticity. But it's important to note, Brat's own history isn't clean-cut, either. Long before she and Judy became reality TV stars and co-parents, Brat was no stranger to controversy. Her most infamous legal trouble involved a brutal 2007 assault at Studio 72, a Georgia nightclub owned by Jermaine Dupri. At a private Halloween party, Brat reportedly intoxicated struck a hostess, Shayla, over the head with a bottle of rum following a heated argument. The impact left Shayla with severe brain injuries, permanent facial scarring, and irreparable damage to her professional cheerleading and entertainment career. The court didn't take it lightly. Brat served 3 years in prison, followed by 7 years on probation, 200 hours of community service, and was ordered to undergo substance abuse counseling and anger management. To make matters worse, the civil court later ordered Brat to pay over $6 million in damages to the victim, an amount that has since increased to around $8 million due to accrued interest. Yet there have been persistent claims that Brat still hasn't paid the full amount. And that wasn't her only brush with violence. Prior to that incident, she had already been arrested for another nightclub altercation where she allegedly hit a woman with a blunt object described as a bang-bang, resulting in the victim needing 6 stitches. Brat eventually pleaded guilty to reckless conduct, a misdemeanor, and received a year of probation and 80 hours of community service. These incidents highlight a troubling pattern of volatility and emotional reactivity that has haunted Brat throughout her career, even as she's tried to reinvent herself in recent years. Still, as people weigh the public records and whispered rumors, a distinction is being drawn. While Brat's past is undeniably violent and deeply regrettable, many view it as reactive and rooted in personal trauma, whereas Judy's alleged behavior is being framed as cold, calculated, and consistently self. Brat's defenders argue that she has shown remorse, served her time, and taken steps toward personal accountability. Judy, on the other hand, is being accused of weaponizing affection and opportunities for personal gain, of building empires not just through hustle, but through betrayal, and perhaps that distinction between impulsive harm and long-term manipulation's what's shaping public opinion now. As tensions in their marriage reportedly boiled over, many speculate that these unresolved personal demons resurfaced and collided, igniting the breakdown of what once looked like a fairy tale union. Their relationship, once celebrated as a beacon of Black queer love, is now mired in legal threats, emotional bitterness, and questions about parental custody, with Brat allegedly seeking full custody of their child. True, the legal battle could turn ugly. Judy is the biological mother, having provided the egg, and legal parenthood could be complicated if their marriage was never officially recognized, something that's also been called into question due to Brat's previous legal status. However, supporters argue that Brat has shown the more hands-on, emotionally invested approach to parenting, and that Judy's track record with her other children, whom she's been accused of neglecting or minimizing, might play against her. Whether this custody battle becomes a war remains to be seen, but the emotional stakes are undeniably high. Fans are left grappling with a multitude of questions. Was this relationship doomed from the start to women with turbulent histories, trying to heal through love? Or was one person always in it for more strategic reasons? Was Judy playing a long game, using Brat as a stepping stone to greater brand relevance and media exposure? Or did they both, at least for a time, believe they had found something real? The truth may lie somewhere in between. It's entirely possible that love was present, but that it wasn't enough to overcome the deep scars, the habits, and the trust issues both carried into the relationship. It's a sobering reminder that love, even when real, can't always fix broken pieces that haven't yet been acknowledged or healed. Now, with the relationship collapsing under the weight of betrayal and legal ambiguity, what once seemed like an inspiring story of growth and representation has become a complex narrative about trauma, power, exploitation, and the hard realities of loving in the spotlight. For every fairy tale caption and smiling photo, there were cracks forming, cracks that eventually broke open into something raw and painful. And while the public may never know the full truth behind the headlines, one thing is clear: this wasn't just a breakup. It was a collision of two lives, two legacies, and two very human stories that, when intertwined, became something far more complicated than either could have imagined.